Good morning. Today I'm very happy to welcome Mrs. Sara Janelle Blachowicz. She's an actress, model, and also she does magic as a illusionist and magician assistant. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for joining the
Correct.
live. How are you?
Good morning. I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. First, I want to know your interest into becoming into venturing into magic because it's not something very common. And how did you get you to become a professional magician and illusionist?
So actually I had always wanted to be an entertainer or a performer, but it wasn't very supported by my family. And then one day I was actually on Craigslist and I was just searching through the miscellaneous jobs and I saw an ad for a dancer at my local Six Flags and I applied even though I wasn't a professional dancer. Something told me to apply. And the response that I received was, actually, I'm an illusionist from Las Vegas, and I just say dancer because no one applies for the magician's assistant job. And
Yes.
he picked me just from a bunch of Zoom interviews and stuff like that, and I began my career 11 years ago.
Ah, okay. And tell me what kind of training did you have? I know I've seen a lot of films about magician, but we can talk about it later. But usually, what kind of training do you have? I mean, and what kind of illusion you were into? You
Hmm.
know?
So the training was pretty intense. We met about 2 to 2.5 weeks before we opened, and we rehearsed pretty much every single day for about 12 hours a day.
Yes.
Um, there's a lot more to magic to make it happen and to make it be magical than I guess people or even I had realized. And I've done everything. I've been cut in half. I've been cut in three and in five. I've floated. I've had swords put through me and been in the blade box. I've had my head twisted around. So some pretty unique and fun tricks.
Yes. I was checking right now your Facebook. And one of the photos you took photos, I don't know when, but it appears in the photo gallery that you hurt yourself. Your hand was hurt or something like that. This is correct?
I had hurt myself.
Yes, like your hand was hurt. Your
I
hand,
mean,
or
through
this is
magic, I've received quite a few injuries. Yeah, I actually
really.
just hurt my hand opening night of our show, um,
Hmm.
trying to do something kind of quickly that was very
Really?
intricate and had a lot of things to get done. And it was my first time doing it. And yeah, I hurt my hand. I've hurt my knee. There's, depending on the tricks you do, there's been shows where I'm just covered in bruises. Like literally, I
Really?
have to find like body paint to cover myself
Uh-huh.
up because I'm just covered in bruises from the swords and whatever else may be. So yeah, you can definitely get injuries doing this.
Yes, because there are a lot of people doing magic or illusion. They rely on, I mean, effects, stuff you can do on stage, or if it was filmed for television or for shows. You can do some special effects, graphics. But regarding, I mean, practical effects like you were into, you can get hurt, using swords, knives. I just remember right now there was an illusion where you got, you are tied to a wheel and the wheel is turning and you can get hurt, really, correct?
Absolutely, that one's very real. That one,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people have been injured in that trick. We're actually
Yes.
discussing potentially performing it next year at our
Yeah,
show
yeah,
out
this
in
is
Salem. So we'll see.
yes, yes. I want to ask you, where do you usually perform? I know you are in New York,
No, actually, I perform all over the place. I'm currently in Salem, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Great, yes. And do you do yourself tricks or only you are assistant to the main magician?
I do my own tricks as well. I've
Mm-hmm.
done card tricks. I've done the mechanical deck. I've done so a very classic magician trick is called the linking rings.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a very new and rarer way. It's called the flying linking rings. It's by a guy named Victor Voitko. It was invented in the Ukraine, and so I actually learned how to do the flying linking rings. And probably, I have a small bag of tricks. I could do maybe a 30-minute show, but I'm working on getting like a bigger show, and that's something I'm progressively working on now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I've seen a lot of films before on magic. I don't know if you have seen the Houdini film with Tony Curtis, a classic one, and The Prestige with Christian Bale and Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman, Illusionist with Edward Norton. Tell me, how did you connect with some of these films and the characters, and some of the events in the movies?
A little bit actually, a little bit. It was interesting. The one that I felt was most like today, like modern, the way magic shows goes down is now you see me, right?
Now you see me. Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
that one was actually the most realistic in just the way it happens behind the scenes and the work that we have to do and the way
yes.
people in our community act. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes. There were two films I remember. I remember also there was a television series in the 70s, very famous, called Mystery Movie, and they used to have in each television film a new character.
Doug
Of
Henning.
course, it was called Mystery Movie, in the 70s, and they used to have, Colombo. Of course, maybe you're familiar with Colombo, Peter Falk. And they used to have a character called Banachek, played by George Peppard. And, he was, a specialist in, investigating cases related to high quality insurance stuff. If a painting was robbed from a museum, he goes to see if, for the company to pay the insurance. And I remember they have a statue in one of the episodes. I saw this in the 70s, when I was a kid, and they have a statue in the middle of a presentation, and they put something. Yeah, sorry.
All
You
right.
came back. Yes, you came back. Yes, and it was disappeared in the middle. So tell me, what are the challenges in doing a show where you need to make an object or somebody to disappear?
Well, I mean, it depends, of course, on the object. Like when
Uh-huh.
David Copperfield did the Statue of Liberty, that's
Yes.
something that would take
Mm-hmm.
years of planning and
Of course.
probably hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Of course.
Something like making a person or something relative to that size disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So the gentleman who invented the illusion or the method took years.
Mm-hmm.
It took years and
Mm-hmm.
years for them to come up with that. But then once the
Mm-hmm.
method is made, we pay for the rights, like the other performers pay for the rights, and then they're allowed to execute it. So then that probably just takes, I mean, it could take a month of rehearsals to learn how to do
Yes.
something like that.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, during your performances, an illusion sometimes go wrong and you receive a boo from the audience,
I received what?
like a boo, the audience who are unhappy with an illusion,
Oh, have
like
we ever
they
been
say,
booed?
yes,
So
yeah,
So I actually I did America's Got Talent season 9 and
great,
we made
yes,
it to the first televised round. And so we went up at Madison Square Garden and we were in front of Heidi, Howie. Gosh, I can't, it was 3 H's, Heidi, Howie, Howard, and Mel B. And so we went
yes,
up and I had never done the trick. I had never met the magician. He should have flown me out like a month in advance, but we learned it just like within a few days, and it was silly. But I was young and I was new, so I took the gig, right? And so I learned the trick, and we went on stage, and the whole trick, like from top to bottom, 90% went flawless. And then right at
yes,
the end, he put this butterfly on this table right where I'm supposed to throw the cloth, and he didn't tell me. So I threw the cloth
Yes.
into the butterfly, knocked the butterfly off the table, and it shouldn't have been that big of a deal, but the judges were in hysterics. I mean, Howard was like literally laughing and crying, and Heidi had to be like, I mean, they literally like the judges laughed us off the stage. It was pretty terrible.
Yes, but tell me right now, you have right now, you told me you have like more than 10 years in this career. What is the advice of a young man or a young woman who like to venture into something similar? What will be your advice to him or her?
Hmm. So if you're trying to find your way in, like into
Hmm.
this world, I guess my advice would be to be very open-minded. And
Hmm.
I'll give two things. This is just the first one. So the first thing I'd say is to be very, very open-minded. Like when I've heard of people finding it through the weirdest circumstances, like they'll just meet someone at a store and they'll be like, "Hey, you look like you'd be a great assistant," or a Craigslist ad or Facebook. And I know when I first got started, people called me crazy. They're like, "You're gonna meet someone off," this is like terrible advice, right? But they're like, "You're gonna meet someone off Craigslist and just go meet them and go
Yes,
start working with them." And everything sounded crazy about what he said, but I did it. And I did it and it changed my
yeah,
life. And so you've got to be very open-minded to enter the world of magic. And you also have to be super dedicated. Like people don't realize how much hard work it is or how precise it is. And so once you're in the world, like maybe you've done the work, you found the mentor, you found the boss, or even just the theater to perform at, there's so much dedication. The magicians that I know, it's their whole life. And like I don't want to scare
yes,
you, but it has to be like your passion in your whole life. It's not just a side gig. So people in this magic world, we eat, sleep, and breathe it. And so yeah, you got to wake up. You got to practice your tricks every day. You've got to work on your cards for a couple hours, and work on your script. And so just to be adventurous and to be dedicated.
yes. And what will be your next shows? Tell us about them, where people can find you.
So I will be in Salem, Massachusetts on the Salem Haunted Magic Show until November 6th. And then I head back to
Yes,
Salem or to Sedona.
Salem. Hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
this is great. Yes, yes. Sarah, I wish you all the best in your career, and I wish all the success in your tour. And I look forward to talk to you again if you have a new show to mention, and safe travel and enjoy your career.
Thank you very much. It was an honor being here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to see you at a show someday.
Sure, for sure. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care.
You as well.
Bye.